In a small garden full of flowers, trees, and bushes lived a little parrot named Zizo. Now Zizo was a very cheeky bird who loved to mimic the sound of other animals. He would often tease them by mocking their calls, which would make them angry. One day there was a strong wind in the garden and all the animals were trying to stay still so they wouldn't blow away. Suddenly, a duck named Soso let out a loud quack as she had lost her favorite hat. She looked around for it, but the wind was too strong and it had already flown away and gotten stuck on top of the tallest tree in the garden. Soso was very upset because that was her favorite hat. She asked all the other birds if they could go get it for her, but they just laughed at her and said that it was stuck on a tree and not in a bush or on the ground where they could easily reach it. Just then, Zizi flew past her and she quickly said, "Hey Zizi, could you please go get my hat? You're the smallest and most agile, so I know you can reach it." Zizi thought about it for a moment, looking from the hat to Soso and back again. Finally, he said, "Okay, I'll go get your hat, but only because I feel sorry for you." And off he flew towards the tall tree. As he flew past the rooster, he couldn't help but say, "Cock-a-doodle-doo," which made the rooster laugh. "You sound just like me, little parrot. Are you trying to be funny?" "I am trying to be funny," replied Zizi, winking at the animals below. "And it seems to be working. Ha ha." When he got close to the tree, he could hear the wind blowing through the leaves. "Oh dear," he said. "It's too high for me to climb. How am I supposed to get the hat down?" Then he spotted a vine hanging from one of the branches. It wasn't quite long enough to reach the hat, but if he stood on the end of it, he just might be able to stretch. So he did. As he stood on the tip of the vine, he suddenly started to sway and the hat fell into his hands. Just then, a cat walked by below and said, "Meow, what are you doing up there?" "I'm getting this duck her hat back," replied Zizi. "You're doing well," said the cat. "But when you get the hat, don't forget to meow once." Zizi nodded, understanding what he meant. As he swung past the cow, he couldn't help but say meow. The cow looked up and said, "Did you just meow? That's funny. You sound just like a cat." "I am trying to be funny," replied Zizi, winking at the animals below. "And it seems to be working. Ha ha." Finally, he was close enough to the ground to grab onto a flower stem and slide down it. When he got to the bottom, he saw Soso waiting for him. "Here's your hat," he said, handing it to her. Soso was very happy to get her hat back. "Thank you, Zizi," she said. "You're the best parrot in the garden." All the animals cheered for Zizi, who had become the hero of the garden for helping Soso. From that day on, Zizi was no longer the cheeky parrot who teased the other animals for their sounds. Instead, he was known as the kind and helpful parrot who always had a joke to make everyone laugh. And whenever he did something good for someone else, he would say, "I am trying to be funny. And it seems to be working," with a big smile on his face. The end.